Sapari.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, as a Labour MP, I support the latest amendments to the Employment Act, especially in extending the coverage to all employees by removing the salary threshold for managers and executives. In fact, before 2009, managers and executives were not covered under the Employment Act. This move recognizes that all employees should be covered for core provisions such as the timely payment of salary, annual leave, sick leave, maternity leave, and public holidays. Indeed, there are many other welcome changes to our Employment Act, and much of this has been shared by speakers before me, especially by my fellow Labour MP, Brother Patrick Tay. While these amendments are a step in the right direction, I have a few concerns, especially in terms of reducing workers' vulnerability. I support the increase in the salary threshold for non-workmen that will provide them with additional protection. The increase from 2,005 to 2,600 represents a 4% increase since the last salary threshold in 2012. While this new salary threshold ensures 100,000 more non-workmen in Singapore will receive additional protection, I would like to ask why this salary threshold could not have been higher. MOM statistics show that the median gross monthly income of employed residents, excluding employers' CPF, increased by 32% from 2,500 in 2010 to 3,300 in 2017. The median gross monthly income in 2010 of 2,500 was the same as the Employment Act amendment in 2012. Based on these statistics, the new salary threshold at 2,600 seems to be on the low side if the median salary was used to determine the salary threshold. It seems that the 3,300 would have been the more appropriate salary threshold. Second, currently under the existing Employment Act, employers are required to reimburse only the consultation fees when employees visit government or company-approved doctors if the medical certificate obtained results in paid sick leave. This unfortunately results in disparity in the medical coverage between local and foreign workers. Under the Employment of Foreign Manpower Act, employers are responsible for the well-being of foreign workers, which includes being fully liable for their inpatient and outpatient medical expenses. However, I also understand while it would not be fair for this burden to fall on taxpayers, it creates a disparity as employers are only required to pay consultation fees for local workers. Hence, I have made several calls in the past to mandate in the Employment Act for employers' reimbursement to cover medication, either capped at a certain amount or only those obtained from government polyclinics. This would benefit many low-wage workers in SMEs and outsourced industries, as they usually are accorded only the basic statutory benefits as compared to other workers. Nevertheless, I agree with the committee's position that it may result in an unintended consequence of making employers less likely to hire a candidate in poorer health or those with chronic illnesses. Perhaps then, I would like to suggest MOM to consider working with MOH to extend the CHAS scheme to enable all workfare income supplement recipients to receive free outpatient treatment at government polyclinic. Third, I would also like to highlight the calculation of pay for work on a rest day. I am glad there is tripartite consensus that employers should continue to pay a higher overtime rate I am glad there is tripartite consensus that employers should continue to pay a higher overtime rate if they request their employees to work on a rest day. However, should the worker be the one requesting to work on his rest day, the worker will only be paid 1 day's salary. Without a doubt, MOM will act against errant employers if they ask their employers to work on a rest day, but paid as if the work was at the request of the employee. Unfortunately, in our engagement with low-wage workers, many are not aware of the differences in the calculation for pay for work on a rest day. Moreover, given their age and lack of skills, these workers may be reluctant to report their employers for fearing of losing their job. As such, to protect the vulnerable workers, it should be a single rate of double pay whenever a worker works on a rest day. Logically, no employer will allow workers to work should he not require the manpower to begin with. If there is any work, then most likely it is at the request of the employer. The last concern I have is that the Employment Act has not responded to the emergence of the gig economy. Many of us have seen workers working for Uber, Grab, Deliveroo, Honest Bee, and many others. But we may not realize that these workers are not considered as employees of the company. Rather, they are working for the company under contract for service and not contract of service. The current ambiguity for workers in the gig economy when it comes to a contract of service versus a contract for service is problematic. MOM defines a contract of service as an agreement between an employer and an employee, and the employee will be covered by the Employment Act and Workmen Injury Compensation Act. However, under a contract for service, defined when an independent contractor, such as a self-employed person or vendor, is engaged for a fee to carry out an assignment or project, he will not be entitled to statutory benefits or be able to make any WICA claim should he be injured during his course of work. This makes the workers exceptionally vulnerable. Our employment laws must address this. Hence, I would like to know the reason why the revision to this EA does not take into consideration this emerging category of workers. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in Malay. Akta pekerjaan yang berkesan akan memastikan keperluan tiga pihak telah dipertimbangkan. Akta pekerjaan dan semakan-semakannya adalah hasil kajian dan perundingan yang berterusan di antara ketiga-tiga pihak untuk mengimbangi kepentingan pihak-pihak yang berbeza. Saya sokong pindaan yang diusulkan sekarang. Walau bagaimanapun, saya ada beberapa saranan. Pertama, saya ingin menyarankan agar pembayaran gaji kepada pekerja yang bekerja semasa hari rehat diberi kadar yang sama, tidak kira sama ada pekerjaan itu dilakukan atas permintaan kerja itu ataupun majikannya. Kedua, saya ingin menyarankan supaya pekerja-pekerja diberi perlindungan perubatan yang lebih baik. Akta pekerjaan sekarang hanya mewajibkan majikan membayar yuran konsultansi bila pekerja ini mendapat rawatan. Ini sungguh berbeza dengan pekerja asing di mana majikan bertanggungjawab membiayai kos perbuatan pekerja-pekerja asing. Kita boleh pertimbangkan untuk memberi semua pekerja rawatan, kita boleh pertimbangkan untuk memberi rawatan luar secara percuma kepada semua pekerja yang layak mendapat workfare income supplement. Ketiga, saya risau ramai pekerja-pekerja dalam ekonomi gig seperti pemandu Grab dan pekerja penghantaran seperti Deliveroo tidak dianggap sebagai pekerja-pekerja majikan itu sendiri. Lantaran itu, mereka tidak layak mendapat pampasan daripada WICA jika kemalangan atau kecederaan berlaku semasa melakukan tugas mereka. Apakah rancangan yang ada untuk melindungi pekerja-pekerja ekonomi gig sebegini? Mr. Deputy Speaker, in conclusion, notwithstanding my concern, I believe that the changes to the Employment Act are timely, and I support the additional protection these changes offer to the workers. Thank you.